Let's talk about Thomastik Rondo cello strings. I'm pretty thrilled to show off Thomastik's latest Rondo string set for cello. They work fantastically well on my instrument. Some details about my cello. This is a Cervai Stradivarius pattern, but it is scaled down because if you know the Cervai Strat, it is gigantic, like an inch bigger in every dimension. It was built in 2015 by a luthier named Benjamin Beers of Gig Harbor, Washington area. I have installed my own Pernambuco harp style tailpiece with a Kevlar tail cord, and my bow is an Arcus Cadenza Gold carbon fiber octagonal stick. In the last couple of years, we've gotten some really excellent string sets from the big manufacturers. Thomastik Versum Solos set a really high bar for power and ease of response with a good color palette. Parastro fired back with their edition flavor of their perpetual string set. And the perpetual editions have probably the best inter-string balance of any string set I've ever tried. They're just as powerful as the Versum Solos and just as easy under the bow, but they take that typical Parastro approach to tone color, and they're very warm and velvety. Now, the new Rondo set combines the vastness and warmth of the perpetual editions with the aggressive substance of Versum Solo. The complete Rondo set has a sonorous and barrel-chested sort of quality, like a good baritone opera singer. And they also have what I've found to be a really pleasing guttural type of attack under the bow. My impressions on the individual strings are as follows. The A string, when first installed, immediately felt like a broken-in Versum Solo A string. Within 10 minutes, the muscles started coming out and it settled down, wasn't quite as brash. I don't detect any increase of playing tension between the Rondo A and any others. It's almost as beefy as the Jaeger Superior A string, and it has all that nice resonance of the Perpetual Editions and Versum Solos. Now the D string's a real highlight. It's big and round and expressive, and it doesn't have that sort of dead spot in power that you can get with a lot of other strings going, between A to D to G. The Rondo D is everything I wish the Jaeger Superior D string had been. It's vast and rich, and it's got real excellent bite. When I first installed it, it did have a sort of odd rasp to it, but that's since cleared up, not an issue. It's got a ton of nuance to it, and it is detectably a little bit stiffer than Perpetual Edition or Versum Solo. Now the G string is real strong and snarly, but it doesn't have that awful tungsten fizz that the Spiracore strings are famous for inflicting. It is also definitely a little bit stiffer under the bow. It came to life real fast as well. It doesn't do the light and fluffy pianissimo sounds quite as well as Versum Solo or Perpetual Edition. They keep this rondo string, it keeps its bark even when you're being really light on it. The C string had kind of the same interesting rasp or papery texture as the D string when it was first fitted, but that also went away quickly, and now the string is really unified and has a good texture to it. It has a broader sound than Versum Solo, but no less bite. It is also just a touch stiffer under the bow than either Perpetual Edition or Versum Solo C strings. It doesn't quite match the G string. It's a little bit darker and thicker, but it is still got plenty of punch and projection to it. Now, speaking of bow response and string sets that can get problematic, you'll notice I haven't brought up Larsen Magnacores until now. And that was because I had a horrendous experience with them. It just goes to show that cellos are unpredictable creatures, and lots of people really like the Larsen Magnacore strings. I could not play quietly with them, and for an orchestral musician, this is a pretty big problem. I put them on, tried to make them work for 3 days at symphony rehearsal, and it just was not happening. Trying to play quiet was a screech fest. The Magnacore set, and I tried the medium gauge. They're the only strings I've ever had to actually take off my cello because they did not work. But that's why I'm thrilled about Rondo, because I feel like the Rondos are everything the Magnacore should have been. You can be both an orchestral musician and a soloist with the Rondo strings. Now, because you can't ever have your cake and eat it, what are my gripes with the string set? Had I not tried Orchestral Perpetual Editions, I would not even be talking about balance right now because they really do work well. But the Perpetual Editions set such a high bar. With the rondos, I feel like the A and the G are the brighter two, and the D and C are more thick and dark. It's not a problem, but worth mentioning. Again, the bow response is just a little bit stiffer than the other big hitter string sets, so it's something you do have to be a little bit aware of and adjust your technique accordingly. Otherwise, you will be a little more prone to getting a squeaked note here and there, but it's not a problem at all. My final gripe is that the A string almost scratches the itch for a Jaeger Superior A. I have never found another string that is so satisfying to play. It's dark and thick. It's like playing a big juicy sirloin steak. The Rondo A comes real close, but it's just not quite there. That all being said, this is the best string set I've ever tried, and I anticipate that they will stay on my cello for quite some time. If you're interested in trying a set, Thomastik is only distributing the rondos through luthiers as far as I know. I could be wrong. Hit up your luthier and get a set for yourself.